So if you followed my channel and watched a few of my videos in the past, you know I've done a few videos covering my own experience in terms of choosing a university course, choosing pharmacy, and why I chose to quit pharmacy and pursue my own business, which is Lisa Study Guides. If you haven't watched any of those videos before, then I'll make sure to link them for you so that you can get a little bit of context. But context? Why? Why am I like this? One aspect that I haven't talked about though is my own university experience and what that was like. Things that I enjoyed, things that surprised me, or things that were a radical change from high school, and also some of the things that I regret. I'm telling you this in hopes that it will give you an idea of what university is like, and of course every single person has a different university experience, but there are some similarities and common trends. The first thing I want to talk about is academics. Moving from year 12 into uni. I think the biggest thing that was a shock to me was the fact that they really push independent learning. So you think to yourself, oh yeah, I'm good at independent learning. I mean, after all, I studied for all those SACs and prepared myself for my exam in year 12. But I think independent learning actually becomes something quite a lot more significant in uni, because you don't have anyone pulling your hand and guiding you along the way. You realize in university that your year 12 teachers were incredible, at least mine were anyway, at supporting you, at meeting you at lunchtime or after school to help you out, for you to go up to them anytime and ask them questions. Whereas in uni, your lecturer is pretty much nowhere to be found unless they're teaching you that lecture right then and there. I found that yes, you can go and book in a time slot with a lecturer, but it's, I don't know, there's this extra hurdle. You don't have that rapport necessarily with your lecturer because they are teaching to, I don't know, like 300 of you. Okay, that's probably a little bit too much, but they're teaching to a massive lecture hall room full of you guys plus all the other year levels that are studying this subject. So there isn't that, oh, can I get in touch with you, spend some time to chat with you about this idea, because it's very much of a, I expect you to go off and learn this on your own, and that's that. Compounded with this newfound independent learning, it was extra difficult because uni learning happens at an extremely fast pace. So to give you an example, in my first month at university, because I studied pharmacy, everyone had to be on the same level in terms of biology. We studied units 3, 4 of biology, the entire year's worth of knowledge, all in 1 month. Yeah. So that was how fast paced it was, which meant that you often had to go off and do a lot of your own learning and reading by yourself. Stuff that wasn't necessarily included in the lecture notes, because they give you lecture notes that are in slides, like a PowerPoint slide. And as you know, like you can't fit everything all into a PowerPoint slide. After all, like a lot of them are just in dot points. So Wikipedia was my best friend when I was at uni. I actually used Wikipedia so much that I donated to them as a Povo uni student. I donated to them just as a way to say thanks to the gods in giving me this extra knowledge that I wouldn't have otherwise really found. I mean, I could have found it, but pharmacy books were very complicated to read, and Wikipedia just really simplified things. The other thing that I wasn't used to were my grades. So because I was in a cohort where everybody had to do pretty well in high school, it meant that that playing field was evened out in my course. And so my grades as a result plummeted, which was something that I really wasn't used to. I was quite a high achiever when I was in high school, always wanted to do well, but I went into uni with those same expectations that I would try to get A pluses or A's throughout my uni degree, which is equivalent to a, I think, high distinction. Different unis will call them different grades, but you know, basically it's like 80% and over. But yeah, in my first year, I remember scraping past one subject by getting 51%, and majority of my results were often in the 50s and 60s. Even though I tried to study for my subjects, and I tried to work hard at it. So I couldn't understand what I was doing wrong. And again, it loops back to the idea of how your lecturer isn't there to really support you through it. So you have to rely a lot on your friends. Something that I actually learned from my friends was the reason why I wasn't scoring high marks was because I was writing all my answers in long form, like pretty much like an essay, like I used to in high school, because that's what I learned. But instead, in my pharmacies course, and I don't know if this will be the case for your course, but keep it in mind, they actually preferred dot points, and they preferred us drawing diagrams and mind maps to answer questions. And when I learnt that, it actually shot my marks up finally to the 70s to 80s. I'm not sure if I ever achieved 90 and above, maybe for like 1 or 2 subjects throughout my entire degree. But yeah, that's just a piece of knowledge that hopefully you can take with you and learn sooner than I did, which was, I only learned it in like 3rd year of my degree out of a 4-year degree. So yes. The last thing I'd tell you in terms of academics is that 1st and 2nd years are generally considered as the driest or the most boring years. Often they're the foundational years, so the knowledge that you need in order to build the expertise you need in later year levels. I'm sort of thinking that maybe this is more relevant for scientific-based courses. I could be totally wrong, and I will definitely make a note to ask one of my tutors studying arts, but I'm thinking if you're studying, say, literature, then I feel like it'd be something where, you know, you're just like constantly building. You don't need to do a whole refresh of the foundations. But hey, I could be wrong. Maybe something for you to think about when you're choosing courses, because I do find that people in 1st and 2nd year tend to have lukewarm responses to the actual academic side. Of course, the lifestyle side is something different. So let's go into that. I'm gonna tell you about my own personal lifestyle choices when I was in uni. Again, everybody has a different pathway, particularly in uni. It's sort of where you find your newfound independence, not academic related, as I was talking about before, but just you as a new young adult living in this world and doing your own thing. So when I was studying pharmacy, lectures weren't compulsory, but tutorials were. And because we had a pretty heavy workload, I think every day it was pretty much a 9 to 5 demand from us from Monday to Friday. And because uni was at least an hour's drive or an hour and a half by public transport, I often sort of just looked at that and went, nope, I am not going to uni because of that long commute. I'd rather just spend it doing what I want to do at home, which was often watching Korean dramas during that time and anime, or just watching the lectures online, which was really, really great, and something that I'm so pleased that was something enforced by the time that I went into uni, because I know in the past people had to go to uni to get their lectures. For me, if I wasn't just watching animes and Korean dramas, I'd actually be working a lot. So that's how I started doing a lot of tutoring in terms of English, maths and science for VC students from the start of university. And I really loved making an income. My parents had told me not to work during high school because they wanted me to focus on my studies. And so when I was able to work and was able to get some money and sort of use that money for my own self, whether that be going out to eat, whether it be shopping or saving up, I really loved the feeling that that gave me, maybe the empowerment that that gave me. So I actually worked a lot. I ended up not only tutoring 4 to 6 times a week, but I also worked as a pharmacy student as well. So in my course, students were often told to go and work at a pharmacy before you become a pharmacist, so that you actually get to understand the nuances of the day-to-day, actually get real life experience of what it's like in a pharmacy. And yeah, I'm really glad I did that because I made amazing friends that I have to this day. So because I was working so much and I prioritized that as opposed to going to uni, apart from when I had compulsory tutorials, it meant that I was a crammer in terms of pharmacy, because it's very hard to keep up to date with all the lectures every single day, because if you've got like 4 hours of lectures, unless you put that specific time aside, which you sort of just don't when you're in uni. You're too busy sort of having a social life, working. So it meant that I'd end up cramming a lot towards my exams. Often you hear first years complaining about how they have to cram because they're so behind with their work. And I think it's more just that they just don't realize that there's just so much content. Remember what I said about the biology being studied in 1 month, that you're forever going to be behind in uni. So if you are somebody in uni watching this video, let me know if you think I'm right and if you share in the same experience, or if you have a different experience, please let me know, because yeah, in my course everyone was perpetually behind and it was only just before the exams that you would catch up. The last point here in terms of lifestyle is I would encourage you to embrace uni activities. Make sure you go to all the fancy balls that are being held, the uni camps, the cruises. These are memories that will never leave you, and you're going to make amazing new friends because of them. I wanted to leave off with some of the things that I sort of regret or would change. I think the biggest one for me is wishing that I had gone on exchange. I think as you get into the workforce, you don't have as much opportunity to go away for such a long period of time, and often exchanges are like 6 months long, where your course will take you to Milan or Singapore or the US, which is what my course offered. And I'm disappointed that I didn't take up those offers, because yeah, I mean, traveling is just such a big thing, especially for Gen Zers and millennials, that you know, it's something that we latch onto and it's something we often desire. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, it's not really a strong regret, but just something that I ponder, and it's the fact that because I didn't go to uni that much, I only went those 2 or 3 times per week when I had to do tutorials, I feel like a lot of the strong friendship building would have happened through going to the lectures and, you know, the in-between breaks, the lunch times, the recesses. They don't have recess in uni, but yeah, I sort of think to myself, would I have built more lasting friendships from uni as a result? So that's just something to leave you with and think about. Of course, if you've watched the video, do I regret doing pharmacy? You know that I don't, and I go into detail with why that's the case. So even though I studied a career that I have absolutely nothing to do with even today, I have no regrets in terms of doing it. I think it's a shame to live a life full of regret if we're gonna go deep and personal. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any questions about my uni experience, or if you wanted to share your own uni experience. I'm going to release another careers video very shortly, talking about the Maslow hierarchy of career needs, which is something I've just coined myself, but something I found super relevant and helpful in terms of me thinking about my career pathway and what you should prioritize, whether that be your salary, whether that be the lifestyle or values, and you know, making an impact. So stay tuned from that one, and talk to you guys soon. Bye.